Welcome back, dear people of Lithuania. Welcome back to What's Next in Music Conference, and we have another presentation now, which is important because funding is important. This is about EU funding opportunities for the music sector. Who doesn't like funding? I know I do. I understand very little about the subject. I never had any money because I don't know what to do with it and how to behave with it, but I'm sure that the lady sitting next to me does. So, Kamilė, welcome to What's Next in Music Conference. Kamilė Čelutkaitė, Head of Creative Europe Desk Lithuania. And I do believe you have a presentation for us, and we are very much looking forward to see it. I think I'll join the people in the audience and look at all the slides, and if we have any questions afterwards, we will surely ask those. So the floor is yours. We are all ears.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, first of all, for the organizers for organizing this conference and festival. I felt like the program was really covering all the most urgent and pertinent topics for the music industry. So funding is one of them. And I'm going to present the European funding opportunities for the music sector. And I will mostly talk about Creative Europe program. So I have a question for you. Who has heard anything about Creative Europe program? All right, majority, nice. Okay, so I will still present the overview, the main features and missions of the Creative Europe program. I will then tell a bit what Creative Europe desks do and how we can help you to apply for Creative Europe program. Then I will delve into more detail and I will cover the main calls of culture and cross-sectorial sub-programs that are the most pertinent and relevant for the music industry. Then I will talk about relatively new mobility scheme, Culture Moves Europe. We'll present the newest kind of funding sub-program scheme, Live MX. I will then present the opportunities of the European Festivals Fund for Emerging Artists. We'll touch upon as well on Music Moves Europe Awards. And finally, we'll present the European networks for music that you might want to join as organizations or individuals. So overall, the Creative Europe program has basically two missions, two goals. So first of all, to safeguard, develop, and promote European cultural and linguistic diversity and heritage. So as you know, the slogan of the European Union is United in Diversity, and this diversity of contexts, both social, historical, cultural, is thought as one of the main strengths of the European Union. And so the paradigm of this program is to kind of connect artists, creators from different countries, from different cultural contexts, because it is believed that when you exchange those different ideas, to learn from each other's experiences, you can improve faster, and you can, thought of different innovative ideas. So that's the main paradigm, I would say, of the program. The other aspect is to increase the competitiveness and economic potential of the European cultural and creative sector, especially the audiovisual sector, because it is a fact that Europeans consume audiovisual content, be it films or video games, which are produced outside Europe. So the program also really wishes to kind of strengthen the audiovisual sector of the European Union. Ooh la la. Pardon. This is the slide. So the program itself is divided into 3 sub-programs. Culture, which is basically dedicated for all cultural sectors except audiovisual sector. Audiovisual sector is covered by media program, and cross-sectorial tries to promote the projects, innovative projects, combining audiovisual and cultural sectors and news media sector. So as you can see, basically the keywords for all of these sub-programs is to strengthen the transnational cooperation in culture and to kind of support the creation of European works and to strengthen the economic and social potential of creative and cultural sectors. Creative Europe, currently it has the budget of 2.4 billion euros, which is an increase from the previous program. Just to say, this program is adopted every 7 years. It is it is aligned with the budget, with the 7-year budget of the European Commission. So yes, the European Commission likes to, boast about this fact that they increased the budget for Creative Europe, but they always say, let's see numbers in the context. And well, the total budget for the European Commission programs is 1 trillion euros. And for instance, another program, Horizon Europe, which covers all sectors. It is, yes, dedicated to innovation and research. It has 95 billion euros. So I always suggest you, I know that you are, representatives of the music sector. I believe that you belong to some networks. Oh la la. Okay. So, and I believe you advocate for your interest on the national, international levels. So always, fight for more money for Creative Europe, because I feel like there is potential for improvement in this area as well. So the budget, it is, the structure of the budget goes like that. So 58% of the budget goes to media, because to produce and develop audiovisual content, films or video games, it costs a lot of money. So then the third of the budget goes to culture as a program, and then the rest 9% goes to cross-sectorial calls. So we as Creative Europe Desk, so as me as a head of Creative Europe Desk Lithuania, my main mission is to consult potential Lithuanian applicants if they wish to apply for the Creative Europe funding. And it starts from the sharing the idea. I can give you the feedback. Okay, this is this has the European dimension and potential to have the significance and impact, transnationally, not only locally. Okay, then we can talk about the application itself. What questions do you have regarding the application? Maybe if the questions are not really clear, then we try to discuss what you could write. And then finally, when you try to submit the application, if there are any issues when it comes to the portal that you have to submit through, we can also discuss that. I also communicate a lot. I communicate through our social media networks, newsletters, and so on about the calls of the Creative Europe, various satellite events, programs funded by Creative Europe, and as well as the success stories of Lithuanian organizations that has participated in the Creative Europe program to kind of show that, yes, you can also be like this Lithuanian culture organization and apply for the program. And I also organized events. That is information sessions, more general, broader events relating to issues such as social inclusion, gender equality, sustainability, because these issues are, in the application, you will have to really clearly show how your project addresses those issues. So we kind of try through those general events to kind of give this knowledge and taste of what those topics are right now about, and maybe inspire the applicants for the applications. Yeah, we work, two of us work at the Creative Europe Desk Lithuania. We are part. Oh la la. Yes, thank you so much. Sorry, I guess you will have to remind me all the time now about this thing. But thank you so much for helping me out. So we are part of the 39. So every country that participates in the Creative Europe program, it has to have Creative Europe Desk to help the local applicants. So we are part of the 39 Creative Europe Desk network. And the program itself is managed on the European level by the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. So when you are if your application is successful, eventually you will basically be in contact with the project officers employed by this agency. Cultural subprogram. It basically has three main two of them are annual calls, European cooperation projects and circulation of European literary works. And then there's repeated every 3 years, this European platforms for the promotion of the emerging artists. Cultural subprogram, it's always good to know, to have those priorities of the cultural subprogram in mind if you wish to apply for this subprogram. So it strives for resilience and recovery of the cultural sector after the COVID-19 pandemic. It also supports the content creation, which is driven by innovation and collaboration. It also strives for cooperation, transnational cooperation, and sharing of good best practices. And also it supports the mobility of artists and their work. There are specific focuses on specific sectors. Annually, they're different from each other. And then the new priority that we are very happy about is that the calls strive to support Ukraine's cultural and creative industries. So what it shows, the first and the sixth priority, is that this program really tries to be as reactive as possible in order to address the most urgent needs of the cultural sector. The main call of the cultural subprogram is European cooperation projects. It's the biggest in its budget. It's an annual call, and usually it has approximately 60 million euros. It funds a huge variety of projects from different cultural and creative sectors, huge. I will show you one example related to the music industry. But you cannot apply as individual, and you cannot apply as a singular organization. You have to have at least other two project partners, organizations from at least other two Creative Europe countries, this list of Creative Europe countries it includes the member states, but it's bigger. It includes the countries that belong to the European Economic Area, I think, and also there are some countries that have some sort of collaboration agreements. So, for instance, Georgia, Tunisia. There's a list on the internet you can check. And last year, at least, you could apply for three project categories. So for the small scale projects, you could apply. Three partners from 3 different countries could apply and get the maximum grant of 200,000 euros, which constituted 80% of co-funding. Then for medium-scale projects, 5 partners from 5 different countries could apply for maximum 1 million euros, which constituted 70% of co-funding. And finally, 10 entities from 10 different countries could apply for large-scale projects and get the maximum of 2 million euro grant, which constituted 60% of co-funding. Just for your information, this last category might become biannual, so from this year on, it can be that only those 2 categories, the first 2 categories, will be available, but it's not yet 100% confirmed. So, wait, I'll check the time. Okay. So if you wish to apply for this call, you will need to choose one of those 2 priorities that your project addresses. So it can be either transnational creation and circulation of European artists and their work, or your project could address the innovation objective which that means that your project strives to enhance the capacity of European cultural and creative sectors to nurture talents, innovate, generate jobs, etc. And then you will have to choose one or two priorities that your project tries to achieve. It can be audience development, it can be social inclusion, sustainability, digitalization, international dimension, especially for small organizations to increase their capacity to have this international dimension. And then there are like capacity building activities for some sectors, so music was among them last year. Then, as I mentioned before, your project will have to really clearly show how it addresses gender equality, sustainability, and social inclusion issues. If your project does not, it has become actually the evaluation criteria. So you have to be good at it, really good at it. So I cannot emphasize enough how it is important to keep that in mind and write proper strategies addressing those cross-cutting issues. And voila, so I think, it is expected that the projects funded, which is about 130, 150 annually, the selected projects, that they will foster cooperation between organizations across Europe. It will increase the European dimension and the artistic content, and encourage the experimentation, innovation, and so on. So one example of that project that has won the European Cooperation Project call is EuropaVox. And currently it unites 7 partners from 7 countries, and Lithuanian partner is Loftus. So I think it's the second edition of this project, and basically it strives to kind of create this. It tries to create this platform for music creation, providing expertise and support for music expert and audience development on the European scale. And it has 3 strands of activities. That is 7 EuropaVox festivals, which happen across the 7 countries annually. And it is expected that it will attract 120,000 festival goers annually. Also, they have EuropaVox media component, which is like a website, social media, and editorial newsletters. And I think the website, it has 1 million visitors monthly. And it tries to ensure the digital promotion of the 100 artists per year. And then there's EuropaVox Spotlight, which is transversal activity that provides visibility and training opportunities for the selected European acts. The second call that might be of interest for you is the European platforms for the promotion of the emerging artists. So the objectives of the call is to increase the visibility and the circulation of the European emerging artists and works outside their national borders and maybe potentially beyond Europe. It also strives to increase access and participation in the cultural events for general audiences. And the project supported will have to kind of find ways to create more sustainable cultural public spaces. It is not an annual call. It is repeated every 3 years. This year it is repeated again. And usually the budget for the call is approximately 30 million euros. And example of it, of this project supported by this call is Live Europe. It unites 15 member venues from 15 countries. The platform coordinator is Ancienne Belgique, basically it supports the concert halls in promoting new European talents in order to create this long-lasting career perspectives from them. And yeah, well, basically it incentivizes the festivals to feature more European acts. And for 2-year period from 2022 to 2024, it aims to support 2,000 emerging European acts in 21 European concert venues. Yeah, cross-sectorial program. It's like it's quite a specific program because, as I said, this Creative Innovation Lab call basically tries to make the audiovisual sector and any other cultural sectors join the forces together and look for innovative tools addressing the issues they face together. And also there are like calls for news media sector, but it's not really the topic of today. Creative Innovation Lab, basically, yeah, as I mentioned, it strives to kind of connect audiovisual sector representatives and any other cultural sector, be it music, for instance, yes, and kind of look for innovative solutions for like key challenges they face. So for instance, last year, the projects could focus on rights management and monetization, data collection and analysis for kind of forecasting the needs of the cultural sectors, new modes of production or financing enabled by new technology, be it blockchain, NFTs, and so on, improving skills of the creators in new technology, and greening of the value chain. The budget for that call, this is annual call again, is around 5.5 million euros. And the maximum project duration is 24 months. And you can apply as a single organization or in a consortium with other organizations. Yet it is informally recommended that you would apply as one of the visual company, any other organization like from any other sector, so music sector, music industry, and at least one tech startup, because it is considered that in this trinity, the most innovative solutions could be proposed. So yeah, I found one example related to music sector. Do I understand it? Not really, but here we go. There's like this, pilot European NFT platform for music-related audiovisual creations. And they will create like ad hoc NFT platform, which is gonna be tested, and they're gonna create capacity building and mentoring activities for emerging artists that will deepen their knowledge in NFTs and how they can, strive for fair remuneration through NFTs technologies. That's all I can say, actually. Yeah, well, I don't have the knowledge and capacity to develop on that, but I hope they're gonna succeed. But I can talk a lot about Culture Moves Europe, which is a relatively new mobility scheme for artists and organizations. So it started in October last year, and it has 3 editions until 2025. So the main goal is to foster sustainable and inclusive mobility in the cultural sector, and a special attention is going to be given to emerging artists. Emerging meaning it's not about age. It's about it's about the start of your professional career. So you don't need to be young to participate in that mobility scheme. It is funded by Creative Europe program and is administered by Goethe Institute. And the total budget for 3 years is 21 million euros, and it is expected that 7,000 grants are going to be distributed by 2025. And basically, it has two actions: individual mobility action, which can last from 7 to 60 days. And it's going to be, the majority of grants is going to be focused on that action for individual artists. And there's going to be residency action, which is basically, it's going to be, it is going to involve residencies, like arts, creative residency hosts that, gonna cooperate with the individual artists for residency projects. So what sectors could, like, what creators from which sectors could apply for this mobility scheme, Culture Moves Europe? Basically all cultural sectors except for the audiovisual sector, so music included. And well, you have to be adult to apply for this mobility scheme. You have to be a legal resident in one of those Creative Europe countries, that the list you can see. Yes, application should be written in English. You can submit one application per person for this call. If you are a successful applicant, you cannot apply again for these 3 editions of Culture Moves Europe. You cannot cover the cost that you have made, like, I don't know, in the past. Like, it has to be the future cost that you're going to apply to, to cover. And if you're from Ukraine, you can apply also for virtual mobility, taking into account the difficulty to travel for Ukrainian artists. What important thing is that for this program, this mobility scheme, it covers the costs of travel and accommodation and per diem for projects that, that is developed, in the country that you're going to. What I want to say that it is not for already created works to tour in that sense. So, with your project, you want to explore the rich European cultural heritage, or to learn. Maybe you would like to participate in non-formal learning, or maybe you like to co-create and develop cultural content with your partners from other countries that participate in Creative Europe, or maybe you like to develop and deepen your international professional connections. So these are, your project that you will develop, it should be about that. And the international partner that you are applying to create, to have this project together, can be a fellow artist, it can be like a physical individual, it can be an organization, it can be a venue. So both physical and legal entities can apply. It can be your partner for your project, but you apply as individual for individual mobility action. You have to have the invitation letter and all the documents that confirms that you have the project idea and you're gonna implement that. The mobility should be uninterrupted. It should be the mobility should happen at the single destination, and your mobility project should happen within 1 year from the signature of the grant agreement. You will have to submit a pretty easy activity report. And that's the link where you could apply. So I guess the most important question is, so how much I will get when I apply for this program? So as I mentioned, it's not covering the project development costs. It covers the travel costs, and it gives you daily allowance. So if you travel to a destination that is like less than 700 kilometers away, you will be able to apply for maximum 350 euros a grant. You cannot travel by plane this distance, because, well, again, this program really strives to encourage green traveling and sustainability. For destinations for bigger destinations, you can get either 350 euros if you travel by plane, or you can get 700 euros grants if you choose traveling green to cover your kind of longer time you spend on traveling, maybe more expensive traveling means, and so on. And then finally, you get 75 euro per day for allowance, daily allowance, so that cover, it can cover accommodation, food, or any other costs that you incur. There are also some green some top-ups. So as I mentioned, 350 euro is a green top-up if you choose green traveling. If you travel to really long, to far destinations, you can get additional 150 euro to cover your traveling costs. For your visa, you can get up to 80 euro. Some, and if you have a disability, the top-up is calculated individually for you. And finally, if you have children, well, you get 100 euro as a sum, which might not be enough, but well, that's something at least, right? So, and well, there are two types: physical mobility and virtual mobility. As I mentioned, virtual mobility is reserved for Ukrainian artists. And from October on, so the new edition is going to be published in October, and you can participate on Fridays in question time sessions with Goethe Institute employees and ask all questions that you have on those question time sessions they have. And you can also follow Culture Moves Europe on various social media accounts that I really encourage you to do so to get the newest information. Okay, so now, introducing Live MX, the new funding and capacity building program funded by Music Moves Europe, meaning by Creative Europe program. So I will, present this project. So basically, it aims to, support the sector, the live music sector, to strengthen its skills, abilities, and resources to react to, the issues and challenges it faces right now. And it's a 3-year project, and there are going to be free calls announced, free funding calls announced to encourage music professionals to take, to help the leaders and professionals of the live music industry to respond to the challenges it currently faces. And so it is coordinated and administered, this project, by Innova Plus, a Portuguese consultancy agency, by European Music Exporters Exchange, and Live DMA. So again, a European network for live music venues, festivals, and clubs. So as I mentioned, it has two parts, this program: funding scheme and capacity building. So in November this year, next year, May and November, there are going to be free calls covering 3 topics, which are music expert, live venues, and digital circulation. In total, 4 million euros is going to be distributed. You will be able to apply for 3 types of grants, meaning 20,000, 40,000, and 60,000 grants. In total, 90 projects are going to be selected. So that's all I know currently. And regarding capacity building part, there are going to be 2 phases. So the first phase is going to be open to everyone interested. There are going to be information sessions about those new funding calls. Basic information sessions where you get all the information needed in order to apply. And also there are going to be 3 rounds of meetups with experts in the fields of those three topics: music expert, live venues, and digital circulation, which are, I think, it's going to be interesting. So keep an eye on that. And in phase 2, there are going to be capacity building, networking activities for the selected projects. That's a preliminary timeline. So yeah, the first call is going to be published this November. So follow them on social media, again, to have all the information you need to apply. So, okay, one of the last slides, good. There is this European Festivals Fund for Emerging Artists that I find really an attractive funding opportunity for both festivals and emerging artists. It is an initiative of the European Festivals Association, which, well, this basically creates this system, like support system for festivals, which want to support the emerging artists. And so basically, in order to apply, you, for instance, you are a festival, and then you are collaborating with other free festival, like with other 2, I think, the minimum requirement, 2 other festivals from other countries, and then you say, okay, we want to promote this artist, one singular artist or band or whatever, through in this little network of our group. So basically, that's the main concept of how you apply to this call. And well, the numbers are pretty good, I think. You know, the first edition supported 142 festivals and 43 artists from 16 artistic disciplines, because basically all cultural sectors can apply, even audiovisual sector can apply, so it's very inclusive. The second edition supported 173 festivals and 50 artists, and the third and the final call for this fund is going to be published at the start of 2024. So keep an eye on it. We will be publishing as well information on our communication channels. And basically, there are 2 categories of residencies. Usually 40 grants are distributed for discovery artists in residence, which consists of 8,000 euro grants. And then there are 10 grants of 15,000 euros for springboard artists in residence. Finally, I think not finally, almost finally, is perhaps you have heard of Music Moves Europe Awards. It happens, the ceremony for these awards happens annually at Eurosonic Festival. It is organized by Eurosonic and Reeperbahn Festival and is co-funded by Creative Europe program. Well, it is the European Union Prize for Popular and Contemporary Music. And well, it aims to highlight the diversity of the European music and promote the emerging European talents. So 15 nominees are selected every year. They participate at Eurosonic Festival. They also participate in the Music Moves Europe education program. And 5 winners, they win prizes of 10,000 euros. And last year we had Monique Haze being nominated and selected to participate at ESNS, and I think she was the second Lithuanian artist to be selected for these awards. So we were very happy in supporting her last year. Finally, European networks for music. You can join, for instance, Lithuanian Music Business Association is member of the European Music Exporters Exchange. There are other Lithuanian organizations that are part of these different music networks. I really encourage you and invite you to see what suits your interest best. Join the network because they organize various capacity building networking events. And it's also a good way to kind of advocate for your interests on the European level. Et voila, that's it. Thank you so much for your attention. Maybe you have any questions about, it's a lot of information, I understand. So maybe a bit too much, I don't know, but I hope that I hope it was useful for you. And no questions?
Wow, that was definitely interesting. Like lots of info, just as you mentioned. I mean, like, will it be possible to get that PDF shared to anyone who wants to get this and process it, one more time? I just wanted to ask, you mentioned some really nice projects that involve Lithuanian artists or venues, in a particular case of Europavox project. Any other stories, of projects that were developed in Lithuania with foreign partners and got the funding, just in context of how active people and musicians and, and organizations working in music are in trying to secure that funding? Like, do you get lots of applications from Lithuanian music sector, or is it still kind of rare to receive these?
It's a good question. I would say that European Cooperation Project call is pretty popular among Lithuanian applicants. We usually around 50 organizations participate in the applications. For the music sector, I don't have the specific numbers, but I think there's a growing number of projects that Lithuanian music organizations they participate in. So I think the tendencies are pretty good. Of course, I hope that after events such as this, there are going to be more music applicants from Lithuania. But yeah, I feel like it's growing, slowly it's growing. So maybe, hopefully with this conference, maybe there are going to be more applicants.
Frankly, how difficult is the bureaucracy part? I mean, like, is it like, do you have to spend several months trying to do all the paperwork, etc.? Is it hassle-free, or is it like kind of, you really have to devote a lot of time to that?
Yeah, well, I wish to say that, it's just so easy, like just go and apply. I mean, for Cultural Moves Europe, this mobility scheme, it's pretty easy. Like, it's really an easy application to fill in. You get answer basically after 4 or 5 weeks. If you're successful, you sign the agreement, basically after 2-3 months after the date you submitted your application. So that is pretty easy in terms of bureaucracy. European Cooperation Project is a bit like a different story because, well, the funding is huge, right? You cannot really distribute this kind of project and funding just, with an easy hand, So, yeah, I mean, the thing is what we tell that so from the start, from generating ideas, to finding international partners, to filling application, to submitting application, usually it takes, well, at least I would say 6 months, if not 1 year, to develop a really strong application. So yeah, it takes time, but the thing is, if you're successful, this project that you have applied with, it will usually last 2 to 3 years. It's with this kind of budget, you can do a lot. So eventually, it's really rewarding. The application itself, I can tell you that the application, the narrative part that you have to fill in, it is 20 pages not filled. So it's a lot of questions. Usually then approximately it's 50 to 70 pages, the filled in narrative part of the application. There's Excel sheets and so on. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, the bureaucracy, it's getting easier though, I must say. It's definitely easier right now, compared to 5 years ago. I mean, in terms of for instance, the reporting, it's really easy. Basically have to submit the evidence of your activities that have been implemented. You don't have to really submit lots of financial audits and so on and so on. So it's easier right now. It's easier, but it's a bit challenging. It's difficult but interesting, So yeah, apply.
And people can always email you with all the questions.
Of course, all the time. Please do. I'm always happy to help you. Please do contact us. Okay, we can do this together.
Yeah, well, let's hope next year we'll have something to talk about again, and just mention some successful things that happened, and maybe some of the people in the audience will just come up with ideas. Anyone wants to ask a question? Okay. Thank you very much, Kamilė. This was interesting. This was a lot to process, but it was all very, very interesting. Kamilė Čelutkaitė, a round of applause.